I have no indication that this is actually working. I think it's working. Okay. We're still ironing out the kinks, but uh, we should be live right now on both Facebook and YouTube. Any luck, G? Sorry if this is just dead space right now. Trying to figure out if this is even working. Oh, it is. Cool. All right then. Okay. All right. This is incredibly complicated. This whole process of doing these multiple platforms at once. Um, but here we are. Welcome back. I elected to have a fireside chat kind of vibe going on right now. Figure since we're reading, having a story, give kind of a, you know, nice feel here. All right, I think we are officially live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Hello there. Welcome back and thank you for joining me. This is day 2 of reading Dogs on the Sendero, an independent review by Andres A. Petri. In honor of Daughter Day, I'm wearing my Rosie fit because she's my daughter, you know. And I've got Rosie on the screen back here. Well, all right. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. Chapter 2 Dogs on the Sendero, an independent review. Sorry, I need to adjust something there. Okay. Chapter 2 Thematic Depth. Dogs on the Sendero is a film that transcends. I'm already messing up. That transcends its modest indie framework through its rich thematic tapestry. They use tapestry a lot. I learned today that any kind of essay or anything that uses the word tapestry multiple times is kind of a red flag for AI. But we picked up on that on the last video already. If you haven't seen the last video, there was some fun surprises on there. Chapter 1 spoke about some characters and scenes that do not exist in the film, and I'm sure we're gonna get some more. So I'll keep going. Weaving together threads of grief, healing, cultural identity, and the human-animal bond. Directed by Michael Flores. This Central New York production uses Soul's road trip with his dog Rosie as a narrative vehicle to explore profound questions about loss, belonging, and resilience. The film's themes are not shouted from the rooftops, nay, but instead are embedded in quiet moments, subtle interactions, and the evocative landscapes of its settings. This chapter delves into the core themes of Dogs on the Sendero, analyzing how they resonate with audiences, how they are expressed through the story, and why they elevate the film into a poignant meditation on the human experience. Sorry, there are lots of typos in here, words that are like two words that go together. So if I trip up on something, That's probably why. Not just because I'm a bad reader. So, grief and loss. At the heart of Dogs on the Sendero lies the theme of grief, portrayed with a rawness that avoids melodrama. Thank you. Sol's loss of his wife in a school shooting is the catalyst for his journey, and the film handles this tragedy with a delicate touch. I thought so too, but it's nice to hear someone else say it. Focusing on its emotional aftermath rather than the event itself. Early scenes depict Sol's grief through small, devastating details. All right, here comes some more made up nonsense. A half empty coffee mug on the counter. Ugh. A photograph he can't bear to look at. The silence of his home. These moments capture the suffocating weight of loss, making Saul's decision to leave his familiar surroundings feel both necessary and inevitable. The film doesn't shy away from the messiness of soul oh God again of grief. Saul's moments of anger, of Saul's grief. This is like the words are flip flop. Of Saul's grief moment. This is so I don't know what he's trying to say here. Moments of anger, despair, and numbness are all present, but it also avoids exploiting the tragedy for cheap emotional beats. Instead, grief is portrayed as a constant companion, one that Soul carries with him on the road, gradually leaning to, maybe that might be learning to coexist with it rather than overcome it. I think that was supposed to be learning, but I guess you could lean on it too. The theme of grief extends beyond Soul to the people he meets, creating a subtle commentary on its universality. In one scene, Soul encounters an elderly man at a roadside diner who shares a story of losing his son years ago. Their conversation, brief but heavy with unspoken understanding, underscores the grief is that grief is not a solitary experience but a shared human condition. That's beautiful. Um, but I'm sorry to say that scene does not exist either. But I mean, that sounds wonderful. I almost wish I wrote a scene like that. But no, it's not in there. Where were we? The film suggests that acknowledging his shared pain can be a step toward healing. As Saul's acts of kindness to strangers reflect his attempt to find meaning in his own loss. This theme resonates deeply with audiences. I hope it does, particularly those who have experienced loss, as it offers a realistic portrayal of grief as a journey without a tidy endpoint. For those of you who have just joined us, we are reading Dogs on the Sendero, an independent review by Andres Petri. And to that note, I just want to say that we have had some really incredible responses to this film from people who have experienced loss. And it's been an absolutely beautiful thing. And I'm so thankful that there's so many people that wish to share that with me and other people in the cast and crew about their own experiences with surviving such loss and pain, and it really does mean a lot to me. And it's something that I really wasn't anticipating when I wrote this film, and certainly not after the fact once the film was released. But again, I'm really really thankful that these people have come forward and told us, so many stories of how they were reminded of their sister or brother or father or anyone, and it's really really touching. And I urge you to continue because I'll never get tired of that. I think just like Andres or ChatGPT or whatever you use to write this book has pointed out, that feeling of loss is universal, and I think we can all speak to it in one way or another within our own lives. I'll continue. Healing through connection. Good segue, Andres. If grief is the film's starting point, healing is its quiet aspiration. Dogs on the Sendero posits that healing is not a linear process, but a series of small interconnected moments of connection with others, with oneself, and with the world. That's beautifully said, and I agree with that. With others, wait, there's another typo here. Saul's road trip is structured around these moments, each encounter a step toward reclaiming his sense of purpose. Whether it's helping a stranded motorist or volunteering at a community center, but both of those things do not happen in the film. I'm sorry. Uh, Saul's acts of service are less about heroism and more about rediscovering his capacity for empathy. The film's episodic structure reinforces this theme, as each stop along the way offers Saul a chance to rebuild his fractured sense of self through acts of kindness. I will say, if we were ever to do a sequel to this, I think it's completely unnecessary, but Andres has already kind of set us on the right path here of what to include in that sequel. Saul and Rosie continue to travel and help others. I mean, that's honestly what I imagine through the end of all of this, that Saul and Rosie are still out there traveling together and discovering new paths, new things to explore, and new people to meet. In fact, and I'm giving away something here, but now you could probably look for it, because I do own the RV in the film. Hannah, that's actually my RV. We do plan to kind of hide her or feature her in different scenes in some of our future films. So you can look for that little Easter egg in our future films, our future films, where Hannah will be somewhere in one scene or another, because Saul and Rosie they'll never stop traveling. They're always going to be out there on the road together. If grief is the I'm rereading this. Okay, Rosie, Rosie, Saul's canine companion, is central to this theme of healing. Her presence provides Saul with an unconditional love and a reason to keep going. She does. Even on his darkest days, scenes of Saul talking to Rosie, petting her, or simply sitting in silence with her are among the film's most affecting, highlighting, and therapeutic power of the human, and highlighting. Okay, gosh, I'm sorry, Andres. Punctuation would help. And highlighting the therapeutic power of the human-animal bond. The film subtly suggests that Rosie's loyalty and simplicity help Saul navigate his grief in ways that human interactions sometimes cannot. This bond resonates with audiences, particularly pet owners, who may see their own relationships with animals reflected in Saul and Rosie's quiet companionship. Yeah, that was kind of the point. I don't really have anything to add to there, I guess, because that is well said. I think that there is for anybody who's owned a pet, whatever it is, a cat, dog, bird, turtle, capybara, whatever you happen to own, I think we all find some kind of unspoken relationship, well, spoken or not, between us and I mean, Rosie is my daughter. She always will be. She's my baby girl, and she's she's my best friend. I talk to Rosie. I still talk to Rosie. Um, Cultural identity and belonging. A significant and distinctive theme in Dogs on the Sendero is Saul's reconnection with his mestizo heritage, which serves as both a personal and cultural anchor. The film explores Saul's struggle to reclaim an identity that feels distant in the wake of his wife's death, as she was a key link to his cultural roots. I mean, not really. She's Italian. Just maybe she maybe in all these scenes that we don't see, she inspired him to keep up with his heritage and lineage. Through his journey, Saul seeks out communities and experiences that reconnect him with his heritage. Attending a cultural festival, attending a cultural festival and listening to elders' stories, or participating in traditional dance. What movie did this guy watch? These moments are handled with authenticity, avoiding tokenism by focusing on lived experiences rather than exercised stereotypes. This is kind of a repeat sentence. This guy's repeating himself. Now that I see why this is 150 pages long, it just kind of repeats itself. The film's use of central New York as a setting adds an interesting layer, as it juxtaposes a predominantly white rural region with Saul's exploration of his mestizo identity, highlighting the complexity of navigating cultural heritage in unexpected places. Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, when I first moved to upstate New York, I didn't realize I mean, this is kind of the whitest place I've ever lived, and it's not because of the snow, but I did think that there was going to be a lot more diversity here, and I think that has expanded and grown over the last decade. But certainly when I first moved here, it was not. This theme of cultural identity resonates on multiple levels. For Saul, it's about rediscovering a part of himself that he had neglected, prompted by his wife's memory and his encounters with others who share his heritage. For audiences, particularly those marginalized or diaspora communities, the film's the film offers a relatable portrayal, excuse me, of the search for belonging. The narrative suggests that cultural identity is not static, but something that can be reclaimed and redefined through community and self-reflection. By weaving this theme into Saul's journey, the film elevates its personal story into a broader commentary on the importance of cultural roots in healing and self-discovery. That's I think that's very true. There's a line spoken by John Proudstar in the film where he tells Saul that that basically that human beings and other Native Americans they're everywhere. Some communities are harder to find than others, but when natives meet, their hearts recognize each other, and you will always have a home. You'll always be home. And I actually that sentiment had come from I was part of a discussion group that was put on by SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, and it was the hosts were all Native American actors who were basically talking about navigating Hollywood as a Native American actor, and how those typecasting and stereotypes they still kind of exist, and kind of the hurdles and really a lot of the overcoming that they've gone through. I certainly think there's been a huge resurgence and a kind of taking back of the cultural identity of Native Americans in film. And I think it's been a beautiful, wonderful thing. And John Proudstar took part in a lot of that, but particularly with Reservation Dogs, showing that, you know, we're Native American, or in my case, Native American and Hispanic, but we're still also living an American experience, and that's what the character of Salt is all about. He's still living an American experience, and those are big parts of his identity, his cultural heritage, and who he is, and they certainly make up, his a part of his belief system and the person that he's grown to be. But they're not the only part of his life. They're not all that he is. There's just like this book, there's a lot of layers to him. So yeah, I'll keep going. Resilience and hope. Underpinning the film's exploration of grief and healing is a quiet but persistent theme of resilience. Dogs on the Sendero does not present Saul as a hero who triumphs over adversity in a dramatic fashion, but as an ordinary man who keeps moving forward one step at a time. His resilience is evident in his decision to embark on the road trip, in his willingness to help others despite his own pain, and in his gradual openness to new connections. The film's climax, where Saul helps rebuild a community center, encapsulates this theme. His physical labor mirrors his emotional work, showing that resilience is built through action and community. This, unfortunately, these scenes that this person has added to this story that don't actually exist are kind of slightly changing the plot here, or at least Saul's arc or journey. He's not really brave because he goes on this trip. That wasn't his initial reason for doing so. It was really, he was running away from his pain. He was stuck in this place where everything about it reminded him of his wife, and he had to get away. And when I was writing the script, that's essentially, I was asking myself what I would do if something happened to my wife. My wife actually is a school teacher, elementary school teacher, and if heaven forbid, if something happened to her, if she was involved in some kind of school shooting and lost her life, I'd probably do the same thing. I would hit the road, and I don't know if I'd ever come back. And that is kind of his initial plan. He doesn't know if he's coming back or not. He's just ready to hit the road, and he's going to live out that dream that they had together. This major adventure of driving cross country and going to all these places that are off the beaten path and discovering new things. So that was at least his motivation at first, when deciding to get in Hannah. Hannah's the name of the RV for those who haven't seen the film yet, and hit the road. And eventually, yeah, that does kind of change the motivation for that journey. But yeah, I guess in that sense, he's a bit of an unlikely hero, I guess you would call him. I don't know. He's not taking up the call to adventure, though. That's not really what he's doing, and he wasn't purposely seeking out people to help. He's, again, he wasn't taking up the call to action to just actively go out there and help whoever he can. He kind of stumbles upon these people that he meets, none of which have really been mentioned yet. All these things that have been discussed in this book haven't happened, but the people he does meet on his journey are purely coincidental. And the thing is that he realizes through these connections that he's not done teaching yet. He's kind of addicted to it. And so he's taking these actions of actually helping people without really realizing it. It's just kind of something that he's doing, and that's part of his path. I mean, that's the trek, the road, the trail that he had set on, especially after meeting Gina, and it's in doing all of these actions and all these acts of kindness that he ultimately realizes that he's doing them, that not without um, with it, this there's no like real. He's not saying to himself, "I'm going to help the world. Here I come." He's not, he's not a pillar of the community. Well, he is, but not in that sense. So I'll keep going. Resilience and that's reading something again. Okay, here we go. Hope. Where am I? I'm so sorry. Hope though understated, is a crucial counterpoint to the film's darker themes. It's not presented as a grand revelation, but as a flickering possibility, found in moments like Rosie's playful antics or in the gratitude of a stranger Saul helps. The film's open-ended conclusion with Saul driving into the horizon, again, it doesn't happen. They don't drive off into the sunset, reinforces this theme, suggesting that hope lies in the continuation of the journey rather than the definitive resolution. This resonates with audiences who may find comfort in the idea that healing and hope are an ongoing process, not a destination. That's absolutely 100% true. Resonance with audiences. The thematic depth of Dogs on the Sendero lies in its ability to balance specificity and universality. Saul's personal grief and cultural journey are deeply specific, rooted in his mestizo identity and the central New York setting, yet the themes of loss, it just stops there. It just stops. Like, he forgot to copy and paste the rest of it. There's nothing else. The chapter just ends there. Oh my god. This is funny. A robot obviously wrote this. It just stops. Does not compute. Oh man, that's unfortunate. Well, that was chapter 2. I think that I like that last paragraph there. The idea that healing is it's not a destination. It's a process. It's a journey. It's something that you're gonna always be on, and that pain and grief is gonna creep up when you least expect it. I mean, at least that's true for me, and um, I've always thought that the journey is just as important as the destination. And the idea of the sendero, which is Spanish for path, there's a poetry to that for me. And I still feel that way. And that's why we actually named our production company El Sendero, because all of us who are involved have been, we have this destination that we want to be on. Creating this entity, this production company where we continue to make films and do the stories that we want to do, taking ourselves out of the Hollywood machine and no longer being cogs in that machine, and kind of taking our own careers in our own hands. But it's taken a lot for us to get here, and we have all been on these different journeys, these different paths, and they're now kind of converging in one another. And this is far from the route that I had ever expected to take, but it's the one we're on, and it's the one that I'm happy to be on. And honestly, the way things have kind of come together, I couldn't be happier about that. It's working on major feature films. It's great. It's cool. It's wonderful. and we get to do these amazing things. And there's a funny, I don't know if you'd call it irony, but it's just funny. We work on these incredible projects, and we get to do these things that like a very small percentage of the population get to do, and we still bitch about it. And sometimes at the end of the day, it's still a job. But once we kind of started going on this journey together, it stopped being that, and our passion returned. And I don't think it ever really left, but it was just like really reignited. And I'm really happy to be on this journey with the people that I'm on it with. John, Marissa, Austin, Gina, and I'm really happy to be where we are. And everyone else who's contributed to this film, who helped in this film: Dwayne Adcock, Thomas Herring, Mario Restive, JT Boone. I'll always love and appreciate these people forever. And and yeah. But that's where we are, and that's where we're going to continue to go. And I hope that they want to continue on this journey with me. So that was chapter 2. Tune in tomorrow night for chapter 3. Hopefully it doesn't end so abruptly. Look at my baby. She's so pretty. Look, I got another one right here. Come here, Buster. Oh, he ran away. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. This has been fun. I'm enjoying this. Let's connect. Hit me in on the socials. We'll talk soon. I love you. Have a good night. I don't know how to end this. How do I stop this?